Tape Deck Media.
Step right up. Listen to the Awful Service Podcast. It's future radio on your computer phone. You've heard of Hanna-Barbera, Laurel and Hardy, Sears and Roebuck, now Doyle and Cocazello. Are you a bean counter at your boring job? Listen to the Awful Service Podcast. We've got segments, we've got guests, we've got Karens.
The Awful Service Podcast, available where all podcasts are streamed. Brought to you by Tape Deck Media.
Ruddle me this, ruddle me that. We got the riddles that'll make you chat. Oh yeah, baseline stuff been through this tight. Get your funk on, we're rocking tonight. One more time.
Good morning, Ruddlers. Welcome to the Thursday episode of Ruddle Me This. I think probably going to be the last time I drop 2 Ruddle Me This episodes in a week. I had the realization that I was probably burning the candle at both ends a little much, trying to get so many episodes out, but I'm more or less caught up on my backlog at this point. At the time of this recording, I've got a couple to record, and then I can rest a little bit, so it should just be back to the weekly releases. By this point, the line-by-line Romeo and Juliet, I think, will be just about to complete all the episodes that we recorded. So if you've been enjoying that and you would like to hear me finish the whole play, then definitely let us know via the either the Facebook page DMs or on Instagram. So this episode is going to be another Tiny Joys episode. I am going to be joined by Cyn Shrader Hill. Now Cyn is a sort of, I'll read it by her actually so I get it right, an author and an editor, a founder of Elk Valley Paranormal, and a storyteller. So I brought, Cyn was another one that I was put in touch with via Jen from the Paranormal NL podcast. Jeez, I've just sat down to record this this introduction, and all this tiredness has suddenly hit me. I think if you heard the episode on Monday, you mentioned that I mentioned that I'd just gotten back from the tour. I was feeling pretty good this morning, but I think I have run out of steam a little bit, so I won't spend too long yapping before this episode. It is Valentine's Day tomorrow, so if you celebrate that kind of thing, hope you've got a good Valentine's Day lined up. And yeah, like I said, don't have a lot to plug at the moment, but as always, if you're interested in getting off the teat of social media, please get along to taylorruddle.substack.com. Link is in the show notes to join the mailing list. So this was another podcast where the guest and myself had never spoken before, and the thing with Tiny Joys is sometimes people don't quite know what to bring to the show. They get a little insecure about some of their joys, whether they're tiny enough, but I have to say Cyn absolutely understood the assignment. So I was very happy with the Tiny Joys that Cyn brought to the show, and it ended up being just a really nice, kind of wholesome, cozy chat. So with that, let's get the interview underway. All of Cyn's links, well, Linktree, I believe it's just the one link, will be in the show notes, and that's where you can check out all the stuff that Cyn gets up to. So with that, let's welcome to the show, author Cyn Shrader Hill. Alrighty, hello Cyn, delightful to talk to you. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Delightful. I wish, so this is just an audio podcast as well. I'm not sure if Jen mentioned that, but I think I'll probably use a screenshot of your setup for the cover artwork. So listeners, go and check out the cover artwork to see Cyn's very, very cool wee space there for podcasts in the background. Oh, did we freeze there a little bit? No, we're still there. Okay. So you are joining me today. We're going to talk about some of your tiny joys, and then we're also going to talk about paranormal investigating. So I think, first of all, once again, we were introduced by Jennifer Noseworthy of the Paranormal NL podcast. So thank you, Jen, for putting us in touch. What is your latest book about that you've been working on?
The latest one that came out was some of the darker investigations that I've been a part of. And then, excuse me, some of my friends' more scary things that have happened to them.
Right. Is there anything that jumps out that you would just a little taste, like a teaser maybe of
Yeah.
something that they could expect from the book?
Well, it's out. It's out now. Excuse me. Excuse me. Um, so I'm actually working on book 6, 7, and 8 right now. So they'll
Yeah.
be coming out in 2025.
Excellent.
And there is one also darker stories. There's one book about signs from our loved ones. It's actually a sequel, and it's about uh, our family coming back to say hello, leaving
Right. Yeah.
signs, dreams and visions, things like that. And then a near-death experience book. So
Wow.
those are all coming out next
Yeah.
year.
Are these experiences that you've gone out and interviewed people, or are they ones that you've personally been through?
I've never been through a near-death experience. I've had a couple of touch and goes
Right.
where it could have gone bad really,
Right.
really quickly, but I was lucky. I was lucky. Something kept me from, worse. But a lot of these are friends of mine that have actually had near-death experiences, and they came forward to tell their stories, and some of them are pretty freaky.
Yeah.
Some of them are just even kill, kind of like, you've heard some people say that they see a light and they
Yeah.
hear their
Yeah.
voice. They hear voices of their loved ones being called. So there's some of those, but then there's some that make you go, "Ooh,
Hmm.
really? Mm, yeah."
What kind of things is this like, they were seeing some kind of like, I don't know, like another dimension or what, yeah, what kind of stuff were the really ones?
There's one that they were seeing. Uh, this was actually in the first Signs book that I've already got out.
Uh-huh.
So they're all on Amazon, and if you've got Kindle and you subscribe to Kindle Unlimited, they're all free.
Oh, hell
So
yeah.
that's always a good thing, right?
That's great. Yeah.
But one particular story that I'm thinking about, that this girl's grandmother came back to her and took her hand and said, "I want to show you something."
Right.
And she took her to this really dark place. She didn't hear any cries or screams or anything like that, but it was just ominous. And she knew she didn't like it. She was a little girl. She
Uh-huh.
knew she didn't like it. And then she said, I want to leave. And grandmother said, "Okay, I'll take you somewhere else." And she took her to Flip Side, completely beautiful place that, just was uplifting and lovely, and everything was wonderful. And she said, "Oh, I want to stay with you, Gran. I want to stay with you." And she said, "No, you can't stay with me yet. It's not your time. You've
Yeah.
got to go back. You've got to go back." So,
That is creepy.
there's,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That is such a
It's
bizarre move by Nan to take you to the bad place first. Like, what's going on
right.
there?
It's like, yeah, yeah. Straighten out, just in case, just in case. If
Yeah.
you're thinking about something, don't do it.
Wow. So when people have had these sort of near-death experiences, are they experiencing these things maybe after they've been injured or sick or something like that?
A lot of them are trauma. So it's a wreck or catastrophic sickness, something like that. There is one near death experience I have in the first book that was a newborn baby.
Uh-huh.
And this actually just really blew me away. It was a friend of mine. Before I knew her, she had gotten pregnant with this little girl. And when the little girl was born, the umbilical cord was wrapped around her neck. So her oxygen had been cut off for a
Hmm.
while. And she had to have emergency surgery after the fact, and just different things. It was touch and go for a little while.
Yeah.
So she ended up with cerebral palsy. I actually taught her in dance, though. She
Right.
came to dance class, and we worked on her turnout, and I would hold her in specific, ways, and she would
Yeah.
get to do some things. So she was a wonderful little person to have
Hmm.
around. Wonderful, just
Oh, I
very
love it.
uplifting.
Yeah.
Now, so she was born like that, and of course had to stay in the hospital. And with cerebral palsy, the tendons and everything shrink, so they have to have a lot of surgeries generally. And she had so many, it was ridiculous.
Mm.
Um, when she was 3 years old, they visited. This other girl's name was Cindy. They visited Cindy's parents' house.
Uh-huh.
Now, her father had died before she had gotten married. So Abigail is the little girl, never saw this person.
Yeah.
She knew Pappy. They called him Pappy. So she knew who Pappy was, but not what he looked like. And they're visiting Cindy's parents' house for the first time in this little girl's life. And she's walking down the hallway and she points her little finger up at a picture and she goes, "There's Pappy." And her
Right.
mother said, "How did you know that was your Pappy?" And she said, "Oh, Mama, he held me when I was sick in the hospital."
Wow.
That was when she was 3 days old.
Man.
Now,
That's yeah.
that'll make chill bumps come up on you.
Yeah, no
It's just
kidding.
wow,
The whole
very
idea of memories from that part is wild. I had a young cousin that when long story, but I was living in Japan, and his my cousin and his wife were asking him if he remembered anything from, before he was born. And yeah, he did claim that he could remember bits and pieces or something, but that wigs me out a little bit to think that like they are still alive, when they're waiting to be born. And a coworker of mine was we both sort of quit our job at the same time, and she was no, she went on maternity leave and I quit. And I remember us sitting in the break room and we're both just there's a person inside you right now. This is insane. Like yeah, that whole thing is just mad, but it makes sense that they would be able to remember things. But yeah, time. Do you have any memories yourself of before you were born or anything
don't
like that?
know. The earliest memory I have is about 4 years old, and I think
Yeah,
that's average
it is.
age
Yeah, I
for
think so.
remembering. I just no. I had my first deja vu moment
Oh
when I
yeah,
was six.
what
I
was
was
that?
6 years old. Weirdest thing, I was sitting in first grade, and we were in our art period of the
Uh-huh.
day. So I was sitting at the bulletin board drawing the Great Seal of the United States, and it's got the eagle with the
Yeah.
talons holding onto the, arrows and everything, the stars
Uh-huh.
coming out. And I got to drawing the arrows, and I've done this before.
Mm.
How did, no, I haven't. I haven't. So that was odd.
Yeah. I wonder if that was something you did when you were younger, or if that was like a past life kind of deja
It's
vu coming
almost
through
like a
there.
past life or a past life memory, or,
Yeah, yeah.
because jury's out on past life
Hmm.
stuff, but I tend to think that we're all connected
Mm.
in some way or another. And when we die, that energy has to go somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Does it go up to a big, you know, massive ball of energy and we're all in that massive ball? And do you grab other people's memories as you come back out of it?
Mm.
I don't
That's what I like.
know.
That's what I like about doing these, because I do a lot of podcasts with comedians, and then also paranormal people. So the nice thing about paranormal people is that you can entertain these conversations of like afterlife and death, whereas comedians, I think, generally just I don't care about that. So that's brilliant.
Yeah.
We ought to get onto some of your tiny joys. So you've brought some tiny joys with you. What was your first one that you've got on your list there?
The first one I got is the first bite of pizza. The
Oh
very
yeah,
first bite.
yeah.
You can't beat it.
No, I agree. So you said you were in was it Montana now?
I'm in Tennessee.
Tennessee, sorry.
Tennessee.
Um, Does Tennessee have a unique, I understand like with, especially with the East Coast in America, you've got like New York, Chicago, all that kind of area have their own spin on pizza. Does Tennessee have like a unique or its own take on pizza?
Nah, it's just, you've got Domino's on one corner, you've got Little Caesars on another, you've got, a couple mom and pop stores that make their own pizzas. It's just, nah.
That's the choice, yeah. We're pretty similar here in New Zealand. I've always wanted to try Little Caesars though. That's the chain we don't have in this country. We have Domino's and Pizza
Really?
Hut though. And we have another one called Hell Pizza, which is maybe something you wouldn't see in the States. I think they've got more of a religious backstory than us here, but all the pizzas are named after the seven deadly sins, and they've got that sort of
Wow.
vibe going on. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I used to work there when I was a student. It was interesting because the Pizza Hut and Domino's were sort of going for like a race to the bottom with cheaper and cheaper deals, but Hell went the other way and they were going for, I guess, better quality, but it was more expensive. And I look at the prices today and I think "Yeah, there's no way I can afford that not working there anymore." So, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Everything's expensive now.
uh-huh. Yeah, I think both of our countries and maybe even England as well are. I
Mm.
think just yesterday they announced that we're in a recession here in New Zealand, so it's like, oh geez, the next few years not going to be a lot of fun. Um,
No.
we do have the tiny joys like pizza to keep us going though. What is your ideal like toppings for the pizza?
Oh, give me pepperoni, extra cheese, light sauce, and a hand tossed crust. I'm good with that.
Ah, that's one thing you don't see a lot over here is you don't see the guys tossing the crust. It's usually we used to make them very assembly line. We would just put them through like a dough stretcher and then kind of use like a rolling pin to make it even with the edges of the dish. Um,
I kind of think that's what they do here too.
yeah, it probably
I
is,
don't
isn't
I
it?
don't see I don't see anybody throwing dough. No.
Yeah, yeah. I
I'd
think
like to.
yeah, no, it looks really hard though because I've tried to do it in my kitchen and if you let it go too thin, you get holes in it and everything. So it's definitely an art to it. Um, I was going to say you'd probably be fascinated to see some of the pizzas that people sell here because I think in America it's pretty minimalist, right? Most people would just go with either
Yes.
cheese and sauce or pepperoni, but here they put so much on them. You have one called Meat Lovers, which is like the most popular kind that we used to sell, and that's like three or four different types of sausage. It's, pepperoni, I think. Oh, I don't even remember the names of the other ones, but they were all different types of Italian sausage. And then you'd sprinkle bacon on top of that and put barbecue sauce. It was a whole thing. I think Americans
Wow.
might see that and go, "What the hell is this?"
No, our meat lovers is different.
Oh,
Our
you do
meat
that too?
lovers has, yeah, but it's different. It has sausage, Italian sausage, beef, bacon, ham,
Yeah.
and seems like there's something else.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
Okay, so you have
it's
that as well.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, not so different then, I guess, in the end. Um, do you have a preferred chain of any of the ones over there?
Not really.
Not
No.
fussy. Me
I
neither.
I just like pizza.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Okay, so what was next on your list there?
Rain on a tin roof. I actually live under a tin roof.
That's the
And I
best,
know
yeah.
you've got rain right now,
We
right?
do. It's not as heavy as I would like, but we make do, right?
Right? It's my
And
favorite weather.
yeah, yeah. Especially when when you're present for the first few drops and you kind of get that like feeling of like, oh yeah, okay, it's about to happen. Um, the what was I going to say? With the part of the states you're in, do you get a lot of thunderstorms and that kind of thing?
We usually those are in the spring and summer, but we just had one a couple of nights ago and the thunder was really rolling.
Really?
That was kind of odd. We've got a really strange weather pattern right now.
Uh-huh.
A couple nights ago, maybe last night too, it was really foggy. So there was a change in temperature and a lot of fog, and then some rain came in and it
Yeah.
cooled down again. So, but the thunder was really rolling that night.
Wow. I'm very jealous of that. We don't really get it a lot in New Zealand. I'm not exactly sure
No,
what it is about. about maybe it's the fact that America's so much bigger and you've got all that hot air going up into the clouds or something.
Yeah,
I'm not it's
there's a lot of hot air here.
especially in the White House at the moment, or is he in the White House at the moment?
A lot. Well, not just the White House. It's all over.
Oh, I love it. Um, have you ever been doing a paranormal investigation or something while it's been raining on the roof?
hmm And that'll mess up your sound. Any kind of
Oh,
audio
true.
you're trying to, yeah, it'll mess it up. But if it is not raining and a thunderstorm comes through, it can actually ramp up the energy.
Yeah, yeah. I can imagine it would do.
Yeah.
Um, with I should have asked this at the start, but we'll cover it now. So, how long have you been doing paranormal investigations for?
Not very long. I wanted to for years and years. I just didn't know what to do, how to go
Yeah.
about it. I saw all the shows on TV. I was watching all of them, wanted to be a part of it, just
Hmm.
didn't know how to go about it. And I finally joined a team in 2013
Uh-huh.
and they trained me. And then I formed Elk Valley Paranormal myself. And that serves southern Middle Tennessee and northern Alabama.
Right. So
Um,
you got quite a large sort of territory, whatever you would call it there.
Mhm. But it's really odd since 2020, when all hell broke loose.
Yeah.
The thing that we've been doing mostly is teaching people how to smudge their own homes, how to get rid of all the negative energy and
Oh, yeah, yeah, of course.
do that kind of stuff. Yeah, because 2020, when everybody was staying home, everybody was getting kind of,
Mm.
trying to,
Oh,
you
yeah.
couldn't do anything, couldn't go anywhere. You were stuck at home, and hopefully you liked the person you were living with, you know.
Yeah.
And luckily, I was lucky. I did, and I
Yeah.
still do.
That's good.
So that's a good thing.
That is
But
great.
some people really had a tough time, and a
Yeah.
lot of negative energy would build up. So I spent a lot of time teaching online
Oh, that's
how
cool.
to smudge homes and go through it. Yeah.
Yeah. The I recently sort of got in touch with a paranormal investigation sort of team. Is team the right word? I suppose that's what it is, right? Yeah. And they were telling me that a lot of what they do is actually trying to give people peace of mind that their house is not haunted. And so
Yeah.
they do a lot of with things where they'll tell people like how to check. I think what was Tracy telling me? She was telling me that certain types of ovens can emit some kind of energy that like it's not good for us. A very old oven or something, or I think
Mhm.
refrigerators as well. And so they teach people how to check. They've got some kind of meter for it, and so when they hold it near the oven, the
Yeah.
the thing, the arrow goes off the charts, and that can actually make people think they're hearing voices and seeing things. And yeah, I find that side of paranormal investigating quite fascinating, where you're sort of
Yeah.
you're sort of educating the public. And I know Tracy and her group every week they have to take down posts that are to be from a CCTV camera, but it's clearly just dust that's
Yeah.
gone in front of the lens, and people think it's Uncle Phil come back to give her
There's
some.
great Aunt Thelma. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Bug.
So
That
yeah,
was a bug.
yeah. With I guess how long into your investigating did you think about doing a book, or was the book kind of always the plan? What was your sort of? I guess if it seems like you're sort of just going with the flow and seeing what happens, right?
Right. That's kind of what happened. I met my really good friend Mark Elliott Foltz. He's a psychic at one of the public investigations we were doing,
Hmm.
and I stayed in touch with him. And in a couple of years, he asked me if he could send me a story that he was working on for a book. Would I mind reading it to
Hmm.
see if it sounded okay?
Yeah.
And I've always liked English. I was terrible in math
Yeah, me
and
too.
science, but I really liked English. And so I started editing for him.
Awesome.
And I guess about the second book I did, he said, "When are you going to write yours?"
Yeah.
I hadn't even told him
Yeah.
that I had thought about that.
Yeah.
But he said, it's time. You've got stories. They need to come
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And so he kind of kicked me in the butt and got me started. So 2018, I brought out my first book.
Wow. Was it I'm unfamiliar with the process of publishing. Is it the kind of thing that you can just put up on Amazon, or did you have to either go and find a place that would sort of like I don't know, publish it? Or yeah, I'm very uneducated on this world.
No, it's no worries. I found out that going through a traditional publishing house
Hmm.
was going to be a lot more money,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you've got to put up some money before you even get anything back.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
I taught myself how to do the Amazon self-publishing and
Cool.
do Mark's books for him. I'm actually working on his latest one right now.
Uh-huh.
And that's why my 6, 7, and 8 are kind of in the works. I've been
Yeah.
working on this all year. And
Yeah.
his is a cookbook that has a good side that really great sounding recipes and wonderful desserts. And then you've got a warning, don't go into this section if you're squeamish.
Right.
And then the ugly sister section, which has, how to uh, fix a possum, how to cook a raccoon, squirrel stew,
Right.
all this
Yeah.
haggis,
Yeah.
everything. Uh,
Yeah.
blood put or black
Blood
pudding,
black pudding,
you
yeah.
know,
Wow.
all this stuff, and he would send me recipes, and I counted them last night. I
Uh-huh.
counted the freaking recipes.
Yeah.
1,788. That's a lot of freaking recipes.
That's using these less palatable ingredients, I guess, right?
That now, most of them are really good,
Yeah.
and he's got stuff in there for salads and soups and,
Yeah.
you know, everything, plus the desserts. And then the ugly sister side, he's
Yeah.
got like some of the nastier soups that,
Yeah.
I mean, I would taste them
Uh-huh.
if someone else cooked them.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to cook them in my house.
Yeah. I
That
remember,
smell, I can't.
yeah. I was watching this YouTuber called Binging with Babish. He cooks foods from TV and movies and everything like that. And in one episode, he was making the every meat burrito. And so, yeah, he went and got it like kangaroo, rattlesnake. Those are just two that I remember. And so he, yeah, he said when he was cooking it in his pan, he said it just smelled like death. And so, yeah, I think that's the kind of thing you want. You want somebody else to handle that side of it, and then you can kind of try it.
Yeah.
But I always do find that fascinating because I'm not good with I'm quite fussy with foods and especially meats. Some of them I just can't do and that kind of thing. But I do find that really interesting that some of it is kind of mind over matter. Like I was hosting a quiz the other night where it showed I forget which part of the world, maybe Peru or somewhere, they eat guinea pigs, those little
Oh,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, you just think like, well, we're just used to the idea of eating cows and sheep and everything, but um, I'm just fascinated with that idea of that, like our brain, can be our biggest ally and our biggest hindrance at the same
Yes.
time. What would you say is the strangest thing you've ever eaten?
I've eaten several strange things. I've
Yeah.
eaten rattlesnake. I've
Uh-huh.
eaten shark. I've eaten, what else have I eaten? Oh, crickets.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Had some
that's right.
crickets.
Yeah, I remember
Oh,
when we were in Japan, there was a place you could get horse meat, which I never tried. It's very expensive. And then another place, apparently you can buy, you know how sashimi is raw fish. You can
yeah.
get chicken sashimi, which I thought, no way, that does not
No,
sound appetizing to me at all.
no.
So
I would
yeah,
be scared to try that.
me too, yeah. I think chicken is one that what is the disease? You can get salmonella or something is the one that comes
I
from
think
chicken, I think,
so.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We should get to more. I keep going off on tangents. What was the next one on your list there?
Oh, sinking a combo in pool.
Oh, yes. I'd never
I
thought of
am
that.
not, I'm not a pool shark, but I love to play. And every once in a while, I'll get lucky and sink a combo.
Yes. The sound of them hitting, the balls hitting, and that sort of thump as they fall into the pockets is really psychologically satisfying, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I love
Yeah.
to play. My dad taught me growing up.
Yeah.
And I found out later that my mom kind of, she, not that she hated pool. We had a pool table.
Uh,
And it's not that she hated pool, but she tried to get dad to teach her. And he wasn't as gentle with her
oh
teaching
no.
as he was with me. And
Right, yeah.
I mean, I was daddy's girl. And so, I got away with so much. And I found
Right.
out later, like 11, 12 years later, that he let me get away with some stuff that I shouldn't have
Oh,
because you
interesting.
can't play like that. And, if you're playing a real game, you can't. Mm-mm.
Yeah. I do
So,
love
yeah.
that the separation from how you want to play pool as a child versus how you have to play as an adult is very like
Yeah.
I think when you're a child, you just want to hit anything and everything and
Anything. You
yeah.
don't care what order. Just,
No,
but I can get that one easier right now.
exactly, yeah. If you've got this a sweet shot lined up, but it's the wrong, what is it, stripes and colors. I can't remember
Uh-huh.
the split,
Solids.
yeah.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
if you learn, I tried to learn the rules of billiards or snooker or whatever the other version of it
Oh,
is, and I couldn't I couldn't
oh my God.
understand it.
Is
Yeah,
that the one that's the really huge table?
I think so, yes. And it's
Holy,
all the balls look the same, I think, in that one. They're all yellow, I think. Okay, we just got that Zoom 10 minutes. So I'm going to bust into my some of my good questions. I've got a list here. The viewers won't be able to see, but there's some good ones in here. So first question for you. They're relatively rapid fire, so don't worry about being too detailed. Do you have a like a series you're listening to, or an album you're listening to, or a book you're reading that you'd like to recommend to my listeners?
I actually just ordered a book, a Christmas book, since Christmas is coming up.
Yeah,
But it's
yes.
scary stories, and it was on Facebook. It was one of those Facebook ads,
Uh-huh.
and you know how they can hear you now, whatever you're
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about. So all those
100%,
ads
yeah.
start popping up. But I ordered it off of there, and it's scary stories at Christmas.
Cool.
So, and then I got a second one that's lore of Christmas time. So the Christmas monsters and like
Oh, yeah.
Krampus and
Yeah.
all the different ones across the world. So I'm
Cool.
enjoying those, but I just got those on Facebook.
Wonderful. Okay, next question. So this we've talked about food a little bit before. Do you know what a struggle meal is?
A struggle meal?
Yeah, so when you were a student or maybe working a job that didn't pay so well and maybe it was payday next week and so you only had meager ingredients and so you would put
Okay.
together so yeah, but some of these meals we still go back and eat when we've got money. Do you have a meal like that that's maybe a little cheaper or a little more unorthodox, but you just you've got that sort of nostalgia tied in from when you were a child or a student?
Yeah, and this is you're probably gonna some of your listeners will go, "Oh my gosh, every day.
We'll
Every
never
day.
judge.
Every day I eat a peanut butter sandwich." I've loved
Ah.
peanut butter since I was little,
hmm
and I have one every day.
I'm not gonna, I can't judge that at all. I know bodybuilders have rice crackers with peanut butter in between them to hit their calories. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think very practical. I'm always fascinated with the American, the PB&J. I think jelly is what we call jam here because it's just a spread, right? It's not actually
Yeah,
gelatin, is that correct? Yeah.
right.
Um, how do you feel about those?
My
Not for you?
husband loves them, and I think my mom even likes them. But I've never no jelly and peanut butter, and there's another one that people do is called
Was it
is it a
Fool's Gold?
fluffer? It's
Oh,
no, it's a fluffer. A fluffer something I don't know, but it's marshmallow cream and
yes,
peanut butter.
that's yeah. It's too heavy,
No,
I think, right?
and I don't just peanut butter.
The
That's
Fool's
it.
Gold one that I mentioned was Elvis Presley. His favorite sandwich was a French
Bananas
roll. What's that? Yes,
with banana.
bananas, bacon. peanut butter and jelly, I think was his whole kind of thing there. And I've made it with some friends, and
Have you?
it is heavy. Like I wouldn't be able to eat that every day. That's like a once a year kind of thing you try, I think.
Was it good though? Did you like
It
it?
was it was a lot better than I was expecting it to be. I was expecting it not to be able to handle it at all, but it's I definitely see why someone would like it, but it's not the kind of thing I would eat every day, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, next question. Do you have a skill that people would be surprised to learn that you have?
I can still do the splits.
Nice. That's great. Yeah. That's good for your health being flexible, I think.
Right.
People say youth is, what do they say? Flexibility is youth, is I think what a yoga teacher I heard say once. So that's great. Do you have a comfort movie?
Oh, I've got a few of those.
Uh-huh.
I've got a few. And well, let's see. Also, I've got a comfort series.
Yes,
I
yeah,
like to
please. What have
watch
you?
the very first few episodes of Outlander.
Outlander.
Uh,
I don't know if I know that one.
yeah, the where she falls back through time and goes back to 1700s
Oh, I have not
from
heard of this. I may have
the
to check it out though.
oh my God, it's this in Scotland.
Yeah.
She falls back and falls in love with a guy in a kilt.
Yeah, yeah. Is there, I love the specificness of the first few episodes. Is there something that changes that does she get back to her own time or something after the first few?
After the first few, they have more problems with the British soldiers,
Yeah,
and he has to go to prison for something,
yeah.
yeah, I don't like those parts.
Oh, that's great. No, I do that as well. I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but I absolutely know what you mean about watching maybe just the first half of a movie or something like that, because that's the nice bits.
I'm stuck on Supernatural right now. Have you ever watched that?
Oh yes. We had a school camp around the time that series started airing, was right around we did a school camp with the Bloody Mary episode, and so that
Oh,
caused no end of hysteria for people doing, so
yeah.
people did it, and then, the next day someone put their hand through a glass window and all these accidents started happening, and so there was a bit of
Oh, no.
hysteria. But yeah, no, I love that
Oh,
series.
I do too. I finally made it through to season 10. So there's a few more seasons to go, but I
Yes.
love it.
There's so
Love
many of
it.
them.
It's
Yeah, no,
so
I love
good
that.
though. So good.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got about 3 minutes left in the Zoom call. How can people best find your work? Do you have like a social media page or where should people visit? I'll chuck all the links in the description, but yeah, how can people find you?
Sure. On Facebook, Cyn Shrader Hill, author, and elkvalleyparanormal.com. So Elk Valley Paranormal is also on Facebook. Um, if you are, you can go to elkvalleyparanormal.com to see my team's information and a little bit about my third book. So you can actually listen to all the EVPs in the third book. There's
Oh,
over 100.
cool.
So
Awesome.
that's on that site. You go to Amazon for Shrader Hill, and there's 5 books on there right now. Next year there'll be 3 more,
Awesome.
and going. Yeah. So you can also reach me, Cyn Shrader Hill author at gmail.com.
Brilliant. Okay, well, thank you so much for giving up some of your time. I
Thank.
think that's about it, really. Do you have anything else you'd like to get out there in the world before we wrap it up?
No, I'm happy to be in New Zealand right now.
Yes, I suspect you'll probably get more inquiries about the books than the ghost hunting stuff from here. But yeah, no,
That's
thank you so
okay.
much for giving up some of your time. I really appreciate it, and
I
I'm sure
appreciate
we'll
you.
we'll we'll collaborate in the future.
Let's do it.
Thank you for listening to Ruddle Me This. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave me a review on your favorite podcast platform. You can find me on social media at Taylor Ruddle Comedy on all the major platforms. You can also join patreon.com/Taylor Ruddle Comedy for free, which gets you access to all sorts of extras and behind the scenes content, as well as allows you to communicate directly with me and let me know what you think of the show. Tune in again next Monday for another episode of Ruddle Me This, and until then, Ruddle her out.
This has been a Tape Deck Media production. Thank you for listening.
Hey Ruddlers, I joined a group of podcasters that we are calling the Trailer Alliance, a group of podcasters that share each other's trailers at the end of the episodes and generally support each other. So at the end of each episode for the next few weeks, I'm going to be playing a trailer of one of the members of the Trailer Alliance. And here's one of them now. I hope you like it.
Top of the day, everyone. I'm Nisha.
And I'm Buddha Badass.
And we're the hosts of Hot Garbage True Crime Edition. Do you guys like true crime?
I really don't. I feel like you force me on this show every freaking time I come here.
Do you guys enjoy listening to victims and murderers and grotesque stuff?
People that are sick in the freaking head, that's who likes it. That's who likes it.
Well, if you like that kind of stuff, then you should totally check us out. I mean, every single Thursday, we drop the most hottest cases, and we have fun while doing it.
You drop the most hottest cases? You drop murder and death. Kill.
How many people can actually say that they have fun while listening to a true crime podcast? And I feel like that's what we do here.
So you're just not going to listen to me now? I'm just going to say this and you're not going to listen to me?
And you know what? Our listeners are not just our listeners, but they're our friends and our trash pandas. We love you guys.
They're a lot, and I will agree to that part, but I'm still just mad at you for just not talking to me. They're paying you this well to say all this.
So check out Hot Garbage on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Check us out every single Thursday. A new episode drops.
I officially hate this commercial. On some real.